Hi guys, the Metal Maniac back again, and welcome to another episode of What Version is Better. In this episode, I'm going to be taking a look at two different versions of the EP Bestial Devastation by Sepultura. Oh, I have this one upside down, sorry. First is this most recent re-release of the original 1985 version, which was a double EP. Of course, one side of it being the EP by Sepultura, and then the other side being the EP by the band Overdose. And then the other version is this cassette tape, which is actually a bootleg, but you know, this is the only other version I have. Anyway, also with the vinyl release or vinyl re-release, I will only be only be looking at the Sepultura side, not the Overdose side. Anyway, so first off, artwork. So the artwork for the official re-release is, I think, if I remember correctly, 100% identical to the original 1985 release. Of course, you get the only time that the original Sepultura logo was used. They would actually change this quite drastically over time. Yeah, I don't even remember a demo of being released by them before this EP. So I think this is the very first time that they had a logo on anything, and it's really cool. I'd say this is, I mean, it's not my absolute favorite. I'd say my favorite is the version of the logo on Morbid Visions, but this is definitely a close second. The Morbid Visions version is a little bit similar, although it's a bit more sleek looking, and it doesn't have the teeth slash spike things on it, and it doesn't have the cross T thing. Yeah. Also, the artwork itself, again, like I said, is 100% identical to the original release. Of course, you get the devil above this cathedral-looking thing. Also, definitely a lot more, a lot better rendition of the artwork for the devil compared to Morbid Visions, which I don't hate the Morbid Visions version of that one, but the way they drew the devil on that one is just very weird. He's kind of like cross-eyed, and he has like one horn. Anyway, getting back to this artwork. And then on both sides there's different things. You could barely see it because of how dark it is. But on one side you have a graveyard with the Grim Reaper standing above. And then on the other side you have a hill with crosses. As for the color palette is pretty simplistic. You got the red for the devil, and then the rest of the colors, except for the logo, are pretty much dark gray and black. As for the bootleg cassette version, the artwork is somewhat similar, but it does have a lot of differences. Now, it's worth noting that the cassette version, at least for the audio, was actually sort of from the, I believe, 1990-something re-release of Bestial Devastation, which that 90s re-release was just Bestial Devastation, and it didn't have the Overdose EP added to it. And I think it was the one and only time that Bestial Devastation was released as its own thing. Again, before it was with another EP, and then after it was added to Morbid Visions. Yeah. Also for the artwork itself, it's mostly identical to the, 1990, again, I don't know if it was 1990 or 91, but that early 90s re-release, where, the, artwork is a bit more overexposed, it's a bit brightened, it does have a difference. Of course, the white slash tannish kind of part wasn't on there. But anyway, I'm not comparing this to the other version. But anyway, I mean, I'm getting a little bit off topic. But anyway, comparing it to this version at least, the artwork is on a base level quite similar, but there are slight artistic differences. The bottom half is a completely different color. It's sort of like a washed out kind of a tannish whitish color. And their logo is actually on here twice. Of course, you get the one that's up top there. That's on every other release of Bestial Devastation. But then, strangely, you get the logo a second time there down at the bottom in black, which is very odd. You don't usually see the band logo on a release, at least on the front, twice, which is again very odd. So as for audio quality, the audio quality is almost the same, and the production as well, but there's a little bit of a difference on here. So the audio quality actually on the vinyl release, hold on. The audio quality on the vinyl release is very good. Now, I don't know if it was remastered or anything compared to the original version, but it doesn't say anywhere that it was remastered or even remixed or touched up at all. So, considering it doesn't have any notes saying that it was, I'm just going to assume that it isn't, and it's the same exact audio as the original 1985 release. But as for a 1985 demo from a, at the time, just upcoming band that wasn't really that well known at the time, it's actually very good. The production is, yes, it's that more raw kind of, excuse me, raw kind of mid-80s sound to, that kind of thing, that kind of heavier thrash. Again, very much on the verge of becoming death metal. Although technically it is kind of a mixture of both. But anyway, the production is very good, very raw, but very well done. It is, it's that raw kind of thing where it sounds raw, but it's also very professionally sort of handled how the production is, overall done. Where it's raw, but also a little bit refined in certain aspects. But overall, it's really good for its time. I think it's very impressive that they could get this style of production, again, from that time period and from that particular genre from that time period. Yeah, the production is great. The sound quality is great. Ooh, this almost fell out. As for the bootleg version, it is almost identical. But there is one slight difference, and that is the audio leveling on the first song. Not the first track, not on the curse, but at the actual first song that starts off the actual songs. Because the curse is technically the first track, but that's an intro. The first song, Bestial Devastation, the title track, for some reason on this release, the audio leveling, the level of the audio is very wonky. Like the audio is more on one side than the other when you're listening to it. Like I think it's more on the right side than the left side. Like the left side is very soft sounding, like very distant, and the right side is very close up, the audio. Now, and that might be just because, I was listening to this on headphones rather than, having this on, like, because I don't have a cassette tape player, one of the bigger ones. I have a mobile one, and I could only listen to it through headphones. But yeah, I've noticed that at first I thought it was maybe my headphones were messing up or something, or maybe the cassette tape player was messing up. But then I noticed again, like I said, it was that issue, that audio leveling issue was only on that one song and nothing else. So I quickly realized it was just the actual cassette itself. But yeah, it's very weird because again, like I said, it's only that problem is only on that one song. The rest of the songs on here don't have that audio level problem. The sound is equal on both sides, both on the right side and the left side. But yeah, I don't know. That was just kind of a weird thing, but thankfully it was only on one song. But it wasn't too drastic or anything. But it definitely was noticeable. Um, and as for another thing I want to mention, this version actually has a bonus track, which was on the official 1990 re-release as well, which is an alternate version of Troops of Doom, which is a song that appeared on Morbid Visions. But the alternate version, compared to the Morbid Visions version, is a bit more thrashy. It has a bit more sort of like speed and power behind it. Not to say that the version on Morbid Visions doesn't, but it is basically the Morbid Visions version. But I'd say, but definitely a lot thrashier, and a lot less sort of moody and sort of atmospheric. And I actually kind of prefer the the bonus track version, the alternate version, compared to the Morbid Visions version. Um, but that being said, in terms of the overall audio quality and that kind of thing, I'm gonna give it to the um vinyl version, mainly because it doesn't have any issue whatsoever. And yeah, sure, that issue that I talked about on this version only popped up on that one song. It still definitely, slightly detracts from being, when being compared to the other version. As for overall presentation, I'm gonna have to go with the vinyl version. So for the vinyl version, there's not much on the front; it's just your basic album art. But on the inside, you do get, and also there's no back to the one because again, it's a double EP. Anyway, so for the inside, you do get a lyric sheet. And of course, it's a double-sided one. It has lyrics for both EPs. But as for Sepultura, you get the lyric sheet right here, and then you get a picture of the band and band member credits and stuff. But that's really about it. It doesn't come with anything extra, and the vinyl is your standard black vinyl. It's not colored or anything. As for the bootleg cassette tape version, there's not really much to it. It's bare bones basic. You get your cassette here, two-sided cassette, and then the case and the little paper part as well. So for overall artwork, even though both are pretty good, I'm gonna have to give it to the vinyl version. As for overall audio quality, I'm gonna have to give it to the vinyl version as well. And lastly, overall presentation, I'm gonna give it to the vinyl version. So the official vinyl re-release wins. But that's not to say I don't like the cassette tape as well. Again, yeah, sure, that has that one weird audio leveling problem on the first song, but other than that, it's still a really good, one of the better bootlegs I've come across, in terms of demos and EPs and stuff. And again, it does have that bonus track that I absolutely love. But I think the vinyl version is slightly superior. The official vinyl version. Alright, so that's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you all next time.